Welcome to English Insight Podcast. Learn English through story and real growth. In today's video, you're going to improve not only your listening and vocabulary, but also your mindset, confidence, and life outlook. Whether you're a beginner or somewhere in between, this video is carefully crafted to help you grow step by step. Put on headphones, maybe open a notebook, and get ready. By the end of this session, you will have learned 10 plus new English expressions, understood the secret habits that distinguish billionaires from ordinary people, and felt more confident to speak and think in English. Ready? Let's start. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to create wealth effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly despite working harder than ever? The answer isn't luck, inheritance, or even intelligence, it's habits. Small daily actions, repeated consistently, that compound into extraordinary results. But here's the twist. There's one habit, in particular, that most people ignore, a habit that billions of dollars quietly hinge upon. And today, we're going to reveal it. Before we reveal it, I want you to ask yourself, what are the tiny, unnoticed routines in your day that might be holding you back from becoming extraordinary? Think about it. Because the billionaire habit we're about to explore isn't flashy. It's not about expensive routines, luxury, or showing off. It's subtle, but its impact is immense. And once you understand it, your perspective on success will shift dramatically. Let's begin with the first insight. Billionaires treat time as the most valuable currency in the world. Not money, not reputation, time. They obsessively protect it. Every minute is accounted for. They schedule their day with precision and treat distractions as enemies. But here's the question you should be asking. How much of your time do you actually own? Not what's left after scrolling social media or replying to messages, but what you actively control. This is where most people fail, and why the richest people in the world get richer, not just financially, but in impact. Consider Jeff Bezos, for example. He once said that he schedules his life around high-quality decisions. Every morning, he focuses on decisions that will have the greatest long-term effect on Amazon. Every single day. Now think about that. How different would your life be if your decisions weren't scattered by small, trivial things? If you could prioritize energy and attention for the few choices that truly matter? But that's only the beginning. The billionaire habit goes deeper. They create systems that enforce their priorities automatically. Elon Musk doesn't wait for inspiration. He engineers productivity. Warren Buffett doesn't chase trends. He follows strict investment principles. These systems allow them to operate at a level that ordinary people can't even imagine. And the key question here is, do you have systems in your life that remove reliance on willpower alone? Or are you letting chance dictate your progress? Now, here's where most people get it wrong. They think success comes from doing more. But billionaires focus on doing the right things consistently every single day. They are selective, sometimes ruthlessly so. And this leads us to the subtle habit that's often invisible to the world: reflective learning. Bill Gates reads dozens of books per year. Oprah Winfrey journals and revisits her goals constantly. Mark Zuckerberg spends hours thinking about what he learned yesterday and how it applies tomorrow. This habit is so simple yet so ignored. They pause, reflect, and iterate on themselves. The question you should ask yourself now is, how often do you step back and review your own actions, lessons, and decisions? If not daily, then weekly? Monthly? Most people skip this entirely, yet it is a cornerstone of wealth accumulation and personal mastery. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the billionaire habit I'm revealing isn't just about time management, systems, or reflection. It's about long-term vision coupled with daily action. Ordinary people live in the short term. Bills, obligations, and instant gratification dominate their thinking. Billionaires, however, operate on multiple time horizons at once. They plan for decades, not days. They invest in ideas that won't pay off for years, sometimes decades, but do so strategically. Ask yourself, are your daily actions aligned with your long-term goals? Or are they just filling the day with busyness? Let's take another real-life example: Jack Ma. Before Alibaba became a global empire, he faced countless failures, rejections, and setbacks. And yet, his daily routine wasn't about reacting to emergencies. It was about building incrementally toward his vision, every day, no matter how small the steps seemed. That is the essence of the habit many ignore: focusing relentlessly on high-leverage activities that compound over time. And here's the open loop. Once you understand this habit fully, it will make you rethink every single choice you make, from your morning routine to how you spend your evenings. And now, as we continue, let's dive even deeper into the billionaire habit that most people completely overlook. It's not flashy. It's not expensive. It doesn't require a fancy office or a private jet. Instead, it's quietly transforming the lives of the wealthiest people on the planet, and yet almost no one talks about it. The habit is this: they deliberately curate their environment to maximize focus, creativity, and opportunity. Think about it. Every person you see who has created extraordinary wealth did not just stumble into success. They intentionally shaped their surroundings to amplify their potential. Warren Buffett famously spends nearly all his day reading and thinking. Elon Musk designs his workspaces and schedules to minimize interruptions. Oprah Winfrey surrounds herself with people who elevate her thinking and challenge her vision. Now, ask yourself, what does your environment say about your potential? Are you constantly distracted by noise, unnecessary obligations, or toxic influences? Or have you created a space, physically, mentally, digitally, that empowers you to think bigger, move faster, and act smarter? This is where ordinary people get stuck. They think habits are only about actions, but the environment you inhabit silently shapes every decision you make. And billionaires have mastered this principle in ways most of us can barely imagine. But the real genius of this habit is that it's self-reinforcing. When your environment supports your best habits, you don't rely on motivation alone. You don't depend on willpower, which is finite and fragile. Instead, your surroundings gently guide you toward the high-leverage activities that compound wealth, influence, and personal growth over years and decades. Let's pause here and think of an example: Jeff Bezos. In the early days of Amazon, he famously converted his garage into a space that minimized distractions and maximized productivity. But it wasn't just about a garage. It was about creating an environment where every tool, every process, every person supported the vision of building a global empire. That small, deliberate decision to control his environment was one of the quietest but most powerful factors in Amazon's rise. And the question you should ask yourself now is, what small, deliberate environmental tweaks could create massive impact in your life? And here's where the habit becomes even more interesting. It's not just about focus or productivity. It's about opportunity recognition. Billionaires are constantly noticing patterns, connections, and potential where others see randomness. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens because their daily routines and environment prime them for insight. When you surround yourself with stimuli that matter, people, information, challenges, and experiences, you train your brain to spot opportunities faster, evaluate them more clearly, and act decisively. Take Richard Branson, for instance. He has always surrounded himself with a team that challenges assumptions, questions ideas, and offers diverse perspectives. This intentional design of his environment didn't just make him a better thinker. It allowed him to identify and seize opportunities in industries as diverse as music, airlines, and space travel. And here's the open loop for you. Most people live in chaotic, distraction-filled environments, which means opportunities pass them by unnoticed every single day. Ask yourself, how many potential breakthroughs are slipping past you simply because your environment isn't optimized? But perhaps the most overlooked part of this habit is what I like to call the habit of scheduled solitude. Billionaires are not constantly networking or chasing social approval. They intentionally spend long, uninterrupted periods in reflection, thinking deeply about their goals, strategies, and personal growth. This isn't laziness, it's strategic. During these periods, ideas incubate, decisions crystallize, vision emerges. Steve Jobs famously retreated into walks and quiet reflection to generate breakthrough ideas. Mark Zuckerberg blocks time every week for reading and reflection. And now you might be wondering, how can ordinary people adopt this habit without needing a billionaire lifestyle? The answer is surprisingly simple. Start small. Even 30 minutes of focused solitude a day, away from notifications, social media, and external noise, can create the mental space for clarity, strategy, and vision. And here's the kicker. Once you experience it, you'll start craving it. Your mind will begin connecting dots you didn't even know existed. Next, let's talk about the habit of radical prioritization. This is where billionaires outperform everyone else. They ruthlessly filter out what doesn't matter. Every day, they make choices that align with their highest leverage goals. Most people are reactive. They respond to emails, messages, and trivial obligations. Billionaires are proactive. They act on what matters most and ignore the rest. This is a subtle, often invisible habit, but it compounds over years into extraordinary results. And here's the open question you should ask yourself. What could you eliminate from your life today that would free time, energy, and attention for what truly matters? Finally, we arrive at perhaps the single most transformative aspect of this habit: consistent reflection and adaptation. Ordinary people do tasks, check boxes, and move on. Billionaires review their actions, evaluate outcomes, and adjust accordingly. Bill Gates reads hundreds of pages daily, but more importantly, he thinks critically about what he learned and how to apply it. Oprah reflects on every decision, every interview, every partnership, to understand what worked and what didn't. This habit ensures they're not just busy. They're constantly improving, evolving, and compounding their success. So now, let's loop back to the original question. What is the billionaire habit you're ignoring? It's not just one thing. It's a system of habits, routines, and environmental strategies that reinforce focus, opportunity recognition, reflection, and high-leverage action. And the biggest mistake most people make is thinking these are abstract or unachievable. They're not. They're choices. Daily choices. Small decisions repeated consistently over months and years. If you've been paying attention, here's the takeaway. You don't need millions in the bank to start practicing this habit. You don't need a fancy office, a private plane, or a personal assistant. You need deliberate control over your time, environment, priorities, and reflection. Start small. Build momentum. Compound your actions. And over time, you'll see results that feel almost magical, but in reality, they're the inevitable outcome of disciplined, intentional habits.